I'm here with Lisa Fuller from Fuller and Associates, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her and what she does. So go ahead, Lisa. Share with us who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name's Lisa Fuller, and I own and operate Fuller and Associates Insurance. It's a woman-owned, veteran-owned insurance agency. I'm what you consider a broker. I represent a number of different insurance carriers for individuals and businesses that are looking to make sure that they have the right coverage at the right price for everything that they hold dear.
So do you do auto, life, health insurance, all those?
I do auto, life, home, small business, and I don't do health insurance. There's a lot to know when it just comes to the home, auto, and small business, so I leave the health insurance to somebody else.
Ah, gotcha. Oh, right. Why did you decide to be a business owner?
Well, I was lucky enough to enter the industry and work for a Fortune 500 carrier, Erie Insurance, as a district sales manager.
Oh, wow.
During my tenure, I actually trained agents to become agency owners and worked with a lot of really great agencies, small and large. And with my background, I knew that I could do it and I could do a great job and serve the client. So I was putting in pretty much 12-hour days for the company and decided that I would rather put in 12-hour days for the client. And so I opened a business close to home, and here I am.
Man, that's great. And I guess the next question, because it's like, why did you choose insurance? I was a life insurance agent for, I don't know, probably 2 months. I lasted in life insurance, and I walked out because I couldn't lie to people. It really wasn't for me, and I let my license expire. So why the insurance industry?
Well, first of all, I don't think many people wake up and say, I want to be an insurance agent.
That
So
is true. That is true.
it's not sexy, but it really is a great career. And I was pulled into the business by a family member who owned an agency and said, come work for me, which I did. And I worked for a number of years in a small agency. Then I moved to a bigger agency. Then I moved to the Erie Insurance, working for corporate. And really, there are so many paths within the insurance business that you can take. You don't have to be an agency owner. You can be an underwriter. You can be a district sales manager. You can just work on processing. And I think it's a great career that's often overlooked, especially for young people. It is a career where the population is aging, so they are looking for some new blood. There's a lot of opportunity for anybody, um, and and you could do whatever really suits your needs, but you wouldn't know it until you get into the business. And we're not lying, Chuck. We're really trying to help people protect all that they own dear,
Right.
they hold dear.
The small company I worked for, they were great people. They were awesome. I loved them. They treated you like family. But the one manager that was under, well, he kind of he had like four people because it was a small company. He managed four of us, and he pretty much, flat out said, "Well, you have to lie to people to get them to buy these policies." And I'm like, "But I can't lie." He's like, "Well, stretch it. You're not really lying." I said, "But then if they come back and cancel the policy, that means I owe you money, right?" And I'm like, I swear, Lisa, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I picked up my bags and walked out.
Well, you did the right thing because we don't want unethical people in the industry. It's hard enough as it is. Our goal
Right.
is just to make sure that if anything happens to you, that you're brought back to whole. And we can't fix some things like when people die, but we can give you money that will help you navigate the future years. And with these hurricanes, so many people had their homes destroyed, but they will have their homes rebuilt. And the important thing is that people are okay. So we're doing a little bit of, safety and risk management. We're trying to help people
Right,
avoid
right,
claims and stay safe. It's the big picture.
right. And I happened to pick up this lady as it was probably during the pandemic, I think. And I asked her, because I'm very open. I ask people what they do. Hey, what do you do for work? And she said they call her the Black Dahlia. And I said, oh yeah. She said she worked for a life insurance company, and she's the lawyer. And what she does is when a policy comes in where people try to claim it, she finds all the loopholes to not have to pay that claim. I
Oh,
just
oh no. I don't know what company that is, but I'm only working with the best carriers. And when we deliver a death benefit check to a widow or a widower, then that's, one of the best things that we can do for them. Uh,
right.
but no, I mean, there are clauses. People want to make sure you don't lie on the application. You can't die by suicide within the first 2 years.
2 years, right?
Right.
Yeah.
We're really looking to take care of that hardworking person that wants to provide for their family after they're gone.
Right. And being on the side of that, for a couple of family members, I understand that you're going through a difficult time, and you don't want to hear somebody trying to pick through this to find out that we don't want to pay this benefit. That would be so disheartening.
Right.
So, which leads me into the last question. Hopefully the pandemic took care of some of these companies like that. So, how has the pandemic um, challenged you, and what challenges do you face? Now that COVID's kind of behind us, what changes have happened in the industry, and where are we headed?
Well, actually, I think the pandemic for the insurance industry did a favor for some of the clients who were not willing to embrace the technology that we have developed for them for their ease and convenience. And that is the apps that you can download from your carrier where you can look at your policy, you can print out ID cards, you can pay your bills. If you have questions, you can get an immediate answer without having to talk to anybody. Um, all those things. People wanted the personal interaction, but it took time. And we don't want anybody to wait to get that information. We want them to have it at their fingertips. And that's good for us because that allows us to spend more time talking about the coverage and what it means to them rather than just talking about here's how much your bill is. So
Right, right.
we're consultants, and that gives us more time to consult and advise.
That's great. How many agents do you have working for you?
We have we're two agencies together, so there's four of us in Fuller and Associates Insurance, and our sister agency, AAG Insurance, has
Mhm.
another six. So there's 10 of us all together. Everybody can help our clients, and every carrier that we have is available to every client that calls in. So when someone calls in, we can usually find a place to put them where we're hopefully saving them money but giving them the right coverage
Right.
and
Yeah,
explaining all of that to them.
I think that's important, right? It shouldn't be about how much I'm going to pay per month. It's like, what's the right coverage? Am I going to be taken care of? That's more important to me.
Right, because you don't want to have a claim and something's not covered. At least I don't want you to have a claim where something's not covered. I want it to come out of the insurance company's bucket of money, not your bucket of money. But
Right.
some people don't really understand what these coverages are and what they mean to them or how costly they could be if they don't have that coverage. But in the end, the customer decides what they want. We just help guide them. With auto insurance, of course, they have to buy it anyway. But so many people really don't know what they're buying, and it's one of their biggest expenses. So it's unfortunate that Geico's trained people that 15 minutes is all you need because I'm willing to spend an hour with you or more just talking about you and the coverage you need and why you need it and what you have to protect. So for people, really, the ones that have significant assets, that's very important. 15
Right.
minutes with somebody that's on the phone typing in the questions isn't the same value that you get from speaking to an agent that lives in their community and has gone to classes to be sure and understand the coverage so they can help you get the right protection.
Right. Right. I know I was kind of shocked when I had an agent look at what I was paying on my auto policy, but I wasn't the right coverages. So he told me, if you would have gotten into an accident, you'd have only been covered up to 300,000, but this policy is up to 500,000 for the same price.
Right.
And I didn't even know that. I was amazed that, wow, if somebody's not educated enough and doesn't, not told that this policy might not be right for you, there might not be paying a lot per month or every 6 months or year, but if something happens, they're not covered properly, right?
Right. So you'd really be surprised. So many people go online and they're encouraged to pick the cheapest policy. Well, that's eliminating some important coverages. And what they don't realize is they can get 10 times as much insurance for just a little bit more, but they all tend to navigate towards the lowest price and the lowest coverage, not really understanding what that means to them. Uh, you don't want to be in an accident, not have enough coverage for your family or to pay the person who's injured, and you don't want to be sued. If you are sued, you want the insurance company to provide the attorney, and again, for it to come out of the insurance company's bucket of money, not yours. Because
Right.
even if you don't have anything, they can sue you for future earnings. So there's a lot to it, but it's simple for us to fix. And we know all the tricks and tips. We're not doing anything illegal, but we are going to craft it so that you get the best rate.
Right. Nothing illegal. That's great.
No, nothing illegal.
So I have this. I'm I'm a little more educated about this, but just in case people are listening, and I've had this come up several times. How important is gap insurance?
So it's very important, especially right now, because you're seeing used cars sell for much more than book value. Dealerships are purchasing them. In fact, I sold a car, it was coming off lease. I was able to sell it to a dealership for $4,000 more than the lease. So, with some carriers, you can actually get gap coverage, or you can get an endorsement that gives you a settlement for more than the car is worth, basically, just like a 2-year newer model with less miles. And that's important because people are typically not happy with the settlement on a total car anyway. So it's nice to have a little bit more money to work with. And there's just not a lot of vehicles out there, especially used vehicles, to choose from. So you have to pay more. And there's
Right.
some other things happening in the industry too. The parts, it's becoming difficult to get parts. And so if you have an accident, you may end up with a rental car longer than you expect. So the whole policy really should be evaluated, and then you can decide if you want to make changes on your policy. But it never costs you anything to have your policy evaluated. So don't just let it languish year after year, because new coverages are available, new pricing is available, new discounts come out. But if you don't call and ask, you most likely won't have them applied to your policy.
Right. Right. Yeah. Talking about all the delays from COVID and the supply chain. My daughter, brand new car, a guy come out of MVA and hit her door and destroyed the door in the mirror. It took them 8 months to get the door to fix this car. So imagine if this car was not drivable, and she's not old enough to rent a car. And that's a whole nother problem. Renting cars has been a challenge. So imagine her being stuck, without that car for 8 months,
Yes,
you know?
yes. And
So,
that used to be very unusual, but not anymore.
right.
Now, that is a problem when you're young and you have a policy of your own. But if she's on your policy, she should be able to get a rental car.
Now, that was my next question because I was confused. I'm 52 years old now and, haven't had to do anything for 35 years of driving for the insurance. But what what does someone do who just got a license and they're not 25? Can they rent a car?
That you have to talk to the rental car companies. I think you have to be over 21, but they make their own rules, and there could be rental car companies out there that have different rules.
Ah, okay. But if I rent a car, could she drive it?
If she's on your policy, yes.
Ah, see, I didn't know that. I could have just got her a car because I was taking her back and forth to work whenever she worked, and it was a little inconvenience, but she needed help, so I was there to help.
Right. But
So,
the only time rental car is covered is when it's claim related. And if her
mhm.
car wasn't on your policy, then it still wouldn't work.
Ah, gotcha,
Mhm.
gotcha. Right. So for people who might not understand, what can you just give us a quick overview of what gap insurance really does and what it is?
So when you buy a new car and you drive it off the lot, it now becomes a used car, and it's diminished in value just by driving it off the lot, just by the fact it's no longer a new car. So what the gap coverage does, let's say the car is totaled through no fault of your own, and you're being made an offer by another company, but it's not going to cover what you owe on the vehicle, then that's where gap coverage comes in, and it will pay to a certain amount um, to make up the difference between the settlement that you receive from the insurance company and the amount of money that's due on the loan, so that you're not stuck with a loan and no car.
Right. So if your car was worth 18,000, it gets totaled and it's like 16,000, but you can only get 12. You have to cover that rest, but gap insurance can help cover that. Is that
It
correct?
can, yes.
Got
It's a little more complicated than that, but yes, it
Well,
bridge that
I'm no I'm no expert in insurance. That's why I'm talking to you. Now, for the last question is, how can people reach out to you who will, could use your service, who need you? What's the best way to contact you?
Well, it is best if we can start with a phone conversation, and our number is 410-914-5467. But we will also work with people through email, through text, and they can go onto our website and send us an inquiry, and that's insurewithfuller.com. And we're happy to help anybody in their method of communication.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what I'm going to do is when we're done with this podcast, I'm going to add your information into the notes so people can see it right away and just click on your website if they need to reach out to you. So
That'd be great.
very, very informal. I really appreciate the information. I learned a little bit, and I hope everyone at the gazillion listeners that I'm going to get soon hear this and get some knowledge from it. And hopefully, they reach out to you and need you.
Would love to talk to
So,
them. There's never
yeah,
any obligation or cost.
right. Appreciate it. Well, there you go, Lisa Fuller from Fuller and Associates. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for speaking with me, and I'll chat with you soon.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I appreciate that.
Thank you for your time, Lisa. I really appreciate it. Take care.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.